as long as we can start to understand what the terminology is, it's going to make it a lot more simple. So first of all, what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a digital or virtual currency secured by cryptography, operating in a decentralized network called a blockchain. It's designed to be a store of value, a medium of exchange, often used for online transactions as a speculative investment. Lots of words. Cryptocurrency is a sellable, tradable, usable digital currency that's based on cryptography. The coins are built by being mined. We're going to talk about mining here in a second. But that mining is simply computers solving a mathematical problem, a cryptography problem, and they get rewarded with coins.
Could you repeat that? I couldn't quite hear it.
Oh, it's because somebody's phone was going off. So, can we go back one? So, cryptocurrency is nothing more than digital money. It's digital money that you can buy it, you can sell it, you can trade it. Most people buy it and hold on as an investment because if you get into a good cryptocurrency, the sky's the limit, right? Everybody's heard of Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, 12 years ago, you could buy Bitcoin for pennies on the dollar. Today, Bitcoin's $106,000 per coin. And that's where they coined the term, the crypto rich, crypto millionaires. Crypto has created more millionaires probably than any other industry out there. I mean, it is creating millionaires every day. Cryptocurrency resides on a digital network, a computer network, and crypto is nothing more than mathematical cryptography, mathematical equations that computers are solving, and that is what rewards more coins. And we're going to get into that more in depth, so we'll understand that too. But does that kind of give you an idea? Okay. Crypto mining. This is what this is why most of us are here, right? We want to know about Texit coin mining because that's what this investment is. This investment isn't just buying the coins. This investment is buying a share of the mine. Now, why do we want to do that? Because the mine is what creates the coins. Now, there's no actual mining, there's no actual digging in the ground. It's terminology. That's what they call it when they make new coins. Crypto mining is the process of validating cryptocurrency transactions and adding them to a blockchain. Blockchain is nothing more than a public ledger. Miners use specialized computers to solve complex mathematical puzzles to verify transactions and create new blocks on the blockchain. When the mining computer solves the puzzle, it's rewarded with newly minted cryptocurrency. Again, lots of words. Let's break this down. A crypto mine is a series of a bunch of very powerful computers. Texit coin, one of the things that makes it unique and makes this investment unique is they own their own mine. And that's what we're investing in. We're investing in building the mine. The goal is to get to what they call 100 million hash power mine. We'll talk about that, but hash power, 100 million, all that is a measurement of speed, of how fast a computer can solve the mathematical problem. Now, this mine, as you can see, these racks, each one of these is an individual computer, all linked together, all trying to solve this mathematical problem. And the way cryptocurrency works is 51% of the nodes, computers in the network, have to solve the problem and have to agree on the answer for that transaction to happen. Once that takes place, the transaction goes through and new coins are created. That is the mine. They reward the computer that finished the block with more coins. That's all these computers do all day, is sit around and try and win some coins by solving that mathematical equation.
Who is it that wanted the puzzle solved? Who's benefiting from this? Whoever's mining.
if you're mining, you're benefiting because that's how the coins are created. And when those coins are created, they're distributed to the miners, the people that have invested in the mine, and then some of those end up on the exchange.
Right, we get the coins, I just wondered,
Why?
yeah, why? Who's benefiting from this solved puzzle?
So the thing is that
It's probably a stupid question, it doesn't matter.
Because it all seems like masturbation. Like, well, we're just solving mathematical equations. What is this going to accomplish? Well, this accomplishes as a blockchain that some banker on a computer can't just say, I want $1 billion in it.
that's the next slide.
Right.
But I also, one of the things that people have a hard time grasping, and I did too when I first got into this, and actually let me tell a little story about why I'm in this quickly. About 12 years ago, I had an opportunity to buy a mining share with a company that was going to start mining Bitcoin. Nobody'd ever heard of Bitcoin, but I worked for Level 3 Communications, big tech firm, and I had a bunch of these IT engineers that worked for me, and they were all talking about this new thing called Bitcoin. And they wanted $30,000 for a single share. And they were like, oh man, you're gonna make so much money. And I was like, well, I don't have 30 grand sitting around, but my mother does. So I asked my mom if I could borrow 30 grand. Now at the time, my mom was the CFO of First Bank. And she said, absolutely not. She's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You don't just make imaginary money on the internet and then think that that's gonna turn into actual money someday. And she's like, it's going to be shut down. This is so dumb. Why are you even asking me about this? And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. Well, this is why she's doing Texit Coin. Because I reminded her that if she'd have loaned me $30,000 12 years ago, that would be about $30 billion today. And some of those guys that did get into this are billionaires today. And every day you read about somebody that got into Bitcoin back in the day and then they forgot that they did and then they lost the hard drive. Because back in the day, you could actually mine Bitcoin on a laptop. You didn't need supercomputers to do it because the mathematical equation was so small, a laptop could mine it. And people mined hundreds of Bitcoins on their laptop. And then they forgot about them because there was really nowhere to sell them or do anything with them. And then all of a sudden today, they're worth $105,000 a piece. And people go, oh my God, I had 10,000 of those things sitting on the laptop. I mean, there's a guy right now in Europe that has been in a lawsuit for what, Jonathan, 8 years now?
I think a little longer.
His laptop got thrown away. They know that it's in a landfill. He's offering like $8 million to whatever township to let him go dig it up. And they won't. So he tried to make an offer to pay the $8 million, get the laptop, and then split the value of the Bitcoins on the laptop with the city. They still won't. So now he's in court trying to buy the landfill because the value of the Bitcoins on that laptop far outweigh the millions of dollars that he's going to have to pay to buy this landfill. Now, why do I bring all this up? Because cryptocurrency has become real. It's a traded commodity. Guess who's buying up Bitcoin now? Banks, corporations, governments, China. The Russian-Ukraine war, the beginning of the war was funded with cryptocurrency. These countries bought tons and tons and tons of it and are selling it off. So the banks and stuff that people said, this is fantasy land, that's now what they're investing in. What is the U.S. getting ready to do? One of the things that Trump said that we need, and Elon has said, is that the U.S. needs its own crypto reserves. Because the U.S. is one place that hasn't really bought in on the crypto reserve yet, but they're moving in that direction. So why do we want to solve it? Because it brings us real money now. It's a tangible asset once you can sell it and convert it into cash. So.
I have a quick question on this.
Yes, sir.
Does the mining ever stop?
Yes. The mining, the mathematical equation will run out in 136 years. And that's why we can tell people that the mining investment lasts approximately 136 years. It's not to the day, but approximately 136 years. So you should get coin deposits every day for the next 136 years. And that's why these are willable and sellable, because most of us will probably not live 136 years. Jack might, there's no hope for me. But the mine itself runs 24 hours a day. And it's barring the end of the world type event, it's going to continue running. Now there's three mine sites right now. The goal is to have 33 mining sites with 100 million hash power. So once 100 million hash power has been sold, they're not taking any more miners. And so whatever your hash power is, whatever your share value is on the day they hit 100 million, that's the share power you are going to have for 136 years.
Where's that at today?
Right at about 2% sold. So I don't know the exact hash power, but we're roughly at 2% sold so far. So
2% of the 100 million.
2% of the 100 million, yes. But what's been happening, so it sounds like we've got a long ways, right? We've been doubling almost every week. So when I got in on October 29th, I'm miner number 384. Well, we're into 6,000 now. So it's every week is pretty much doubling the week before. So we could be there in no time. The other thing is that's not 100 million people, because like I have 58 shares. So that equates to 5,800 hash, 5,800 hash. A single share is 100 hash. One share, 100 hash. So there's a lot of people like me out there that have been building their hash power up. So, other people have 10,000 hash power. So it's really, when we get to that power mark, it's not 100 million people. It's hash power. Yes, sir.
If you have 3 miners or mines, does that mean you can invest in all 3?
You are investing in the mine as a whole. And the reason that there's 3 and we want 33 is we want true decentralization. We want to make sure that if the power goes down in San Antonio, it didn't take down the entire mine because the power didn't go down in Dallas. That mine's still running. So let's, that's coming up in a slide, but your investment is in the mine overall, not a specific property. Hash power. We've kind of bantered this back and forth, but hash power, also known as hash rate, is the computational power used by miners to validate transactions. It's simply a measurement of how much calculations that computer can handle. So the computers that we have are multi-terahash computers. So blockchain. This is probably the hardest part to comprehend of the whole thing. This is going to be a high-level view. If you've got other questions, ask them, and I'll try and clear them up. In simple terms, a blockchain is just a digital ledger, like a shared and secured notebook that records transactions across a network of computers. Each record or block is linked to the previous one, creating a chronological chain. This chain is difficult to tamper with, ensuring a transparent and immutable record of information. Let's break that down just a little bit. When you have a blockchain, the very first transaction ever sits at that front of that chain, and your transaction you're doing is at the end of the chain. All of that is part of a mathematical equation. So every time a transaction happens, the computer goes all the way back to the very first transaction and makes sure that all the math adds up through every block, up to your transaction. If they find any variation that they were not expecting to see, they deny the transaction. This is why blockchains are so secure, because you have multiple computers all running this computation at the same time, and you need 51% of the total minds in the entire network have to agree to be able to say that this is a legitimate transaction. That means, let's say bad hacker comes along and he's able to hack into, say, one of the computers. He starts tampering with one of the blocks in there, trying to steal the money. That math isn't going to add up, and that computer's going to say nope. And then all the other nodes are going to say nope, and that transaction gets shut down. Nearly impossible. I can't say it's 100%. Nothing's 100% impossible, right? But nearly impossible to be able to hack every node simultaneously in your entire network to be able to tamper with the blocks. The other thing is, all blocks, all transactions are public record. They don't say who you are. They don't have that information. But you can see every transaction that's ever happened. You can go back and look on the blockchain at any time that you want. You could find your transaction. Say, oh, I'm transaction number 157. There's my transaction. You can see where it started and where it went. There's never names attached to those things. They're just wallet IDs. So your personal information does not ever float around on the blockchain. So how does this all work? Transactions requested. This person wants to send some money to somebody else. A block that represents that transaction is then created in the network. The block is sent to every node in the network. Nodes validate the transaction. Remember I was saying 51% of the nodes have to agree that everything looks great. Once that validation has happened, the block is added to the existing blockchain and the transaction is then complete. I know there's got to be some questions. Well, I really explained that really well.
I know.
All right.
So every transaction, that chain's getting deeper.
Gets longer and longer. And so, yes. And now let me relate that back to my Bitcoin story. Remember I said back when Bitcoin first started, you could mine it on a laptop because the chain was only so long, right? There wasn't millions of people trying to transact Bitcoin. In fact, when it first started, there was no exchange out there at all. And then Mt. Gox, which is actually a, what is that called? The card Magic? Yeah. Magic the Gathering. Probably have kids that what is that? Pokemon. Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering. That's what Mt. Gox was. That's where you could buy, sell, and trade your cards. That was the first place that you could also sell your Bitcoin at, okay? It's a long, weird history to it. But now we've grown way past all that. Today, Bitcoin, for example, 90% of Bitcoin is mined in China because you need so much power to do one Bitcoin transaction that there really isn't any private people doing this anymore. China has 90% of it. 8% of it's in Norway, and the other, what is that, 2% out there, is everywhere else in the world. And that is one of the beauties that we're going to talk about with Texit coin, and one of the reasons, yes, sir.
So your step 2, where you're requesting a transfer, that block is part of the blockchain. But when you get over to the other side, it's part of the blockchain. Again, it's just been moved to a different position because somebody else owns it.
So this is just the first, it's creating the block. So it actually hasn't been added to the blockchain yet. When the transaction gets requested, they say, we want to create a new block. And then that gets sent to the nodes and they start checking the math. But they know, these nodes already know what all of this is. So they're verifying that and then looking at that block, making sure everything's okay, and then it becomes part of the blockchain. I guess this is kind of a little, they put it in the middle here. It would probably be a better graphic if it was just a string and it was at the very bottom, because that just becomes the next block
So if I own a coin and I want to make a transaction, then it becomes part of the blockchain.
Correct.
Not until then.
Not until then. Right. Yep.
What determines how many coins you get a day? Because I know it goes up and down a little bit.
So there's a few things that influence that. One is the amount of miners coming in. So as more miners come in, that's more shares of that mine. The mine creates a finite amount of coins a day. And something that you need to understand, 3 mines or 33 mines does not increase the amount of coins produced. It just increases the diversity of the mine and the speed and efficiency of the mine. It does not create more coins. It could, in theory, create a few more, but you're not going to have, like, for just simple math's sake, if one mine creates 100 coins a day, 2 mines is not going to create 200. It may create a few more because it can do things a little bit faster, but it's not going to be doubling it. The other thing that determines your daily amount is there's what they call complex blocks and easy blocks. And the way Texit coin is designed is that it's supposed to balance the complex blocks and the easy blocks so that it's pretty stable across the day. But if you have a day that for some reason has more complex blocks in it, it may mine a little bit fewer coins that day. And then if the next day all of a sudden it has a whole string of simple blocks to do, you might end up with a few more coins that day. So depending upon what your hash rate is, it may have more significance to you. So like if you have a single share and you're getting, say, 6 coins a day, that may have more of a significant impact to you because you might lose a coin on a hard block day, or maybe even lose 2 coins. But you should gain that back in the next couple days when it's doing the easy blocks. When you get more hash power and you got more coins coming in, even though it's just one times whatever your amount is, has a little bit less impact to you. You don't notice it as much. So
back to the first scenario about adding users. If you were to grow by 15% in 1 week, does that expectation mean that the value of the Bitcoin is going to go down fairly drastically?
Actually, it usually has the opposite effect. So as more miners come in, it generally creates more activity in the exchanges. The more activity in the exchanges, the value of the coin generally goes up. So even though over time, your amount of coins you get daily is going to go down, what you hope for, and it's happened so far, but just keep in mind, I can't give you a long-term guarantee that for the next 136 years, this coin's going to go up every day in value. That's realistically is not going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs. All crypto has ups and downs. When you look at Texit coin today, it looks like a pretty straight up trajectory. There's going to be ups and downs in there. Good example, yesterday, one of the guys sold $98,000 worth of Texit coin on DexTrade. The exchange took a 3-cent dive, and about an hour later, it came up and then went up another cent. So when you log in and you look, if it's down a few cents, come back and look in an hour. It may be back up. And in all reality, we are actually well ahead of projection. We were projected to hit 99 cents in July. And when I looked before I came in, we were at $1.04 today. I know that we hit $1.07 at some point today too. When I got in October of last year, it was 4 cents. But on the other hand too, when I got in, a single share was getting 76 coins a day. And a single share today is getting somewhere around 6 to 7. But when you put the values together, it's still the same dollar amount. It's roughly the same dollar amount that you're getting. So at some point, for full transparency, at some point, once you hit that 100 million hash mark, if you have a single share, you're going to be getting a fractional. You're not going to get a whole coin a day. But once you hit 100 million hash power mine, that puts you in the top 5 mines in the world. That gives incredible value to your coin. February of next year, the layer 2 rolls out in this coin, giving even more value, even more public value to this coin. In February of next year, they expect it to be at $16.69. So even at a fractional amount with a single share, even next year, if we are at that fractional point, your daily fractional payout still has more value to it than 7 coins at today's rate. So that's the risk part, right? You're going in saying this coin is going to perform. Now, also with that being said, let's play the other side of it. This coin goes up, and then all of a sudden it just goes way down. It goes from $1 to 20 cents. You still didn't lose your investment. The worst thing that happens to you is that now instead of getting your return on investment in 4 months, it may take 12 months. Because the value of the coin going up and down does not affect the ownership of your share of the mine. The mine is still producing every day. You're still getting coins every day. Even though that day's value may be less, you didn't lose your mining share. Now, that's not happened yet, but that could be a potential risk to the whole thing, right? But that's another reason I decided to get involved is when I looked at it, I said, if this coin goes up and then crashes, you didn't lose your mining share. I actually sat down and mapped it out on a calculator and toes and fingers and figured out, well, if it cut in half, my return on investment went from I think it was 5.5 months to 9 months. So to me, it made it a much less risky endeavor. So, still questions on this?
Kind of with all of it, each transaction is going to create that chain, which makes it more complex. Does that blockchain have anything to do with the mining?
Yes, that's all.
The more transactions, the harder it is, the harder, more energy it takes to mine.
Every transaction has to go through this mine.
And which then makes it harder to mine more. It's a bigger equation.
It becomes a bigger equation, yes.
So the computers are working harder and whatever, and
Correct.
You need more power.
You need more power to crunch all those numbers and all those transactions. Yes. So that's another reason to grow the mine. And that's why they have the target of the 100 million hash. Yeah.
Handle more transactions.
Right. 100 million hash for a coin like this is, what did Bobby say? It was 5 times the projected need, but it's just good to have. Like I said, it would make it one of the top mines, privately owned, held mines in the world. So.
I have one
Yes,
quick
ma'am.
question. So for these 3 mines, are they on-prem or in the cloud?
No, they're physical, and you can go and see them. If you're a miner, you can go down to Texas, you can make an appointment, and you go down and look at them.
So if there's a tornado, no more mine?
That mine would probably be gone. That's why we have 3. That's why we want 33, because highly unlikely that one tornado is going to wipe out 33 mines spaced across the state of Texas.
Is there any reason you wouldn't go to the cloud then?
I don't think you could do it in the cloud. I don't think you could get enough computing power.
It wouldn't be decentralized.
Yeah, that wouldn't be decentralized. Also, the other thing is you're much more vulnerable to attack, and you lose the ownership. And let me explain why this is the ownership part and the Texas part is important. The programming of this coin geo-locks its mining to the state of Texas. That means China, Norway, all these big crypto countries cannot come in and start mining this coin. That's protecting your investment. You don't want, if you're investing in this mine and you're investing in this coin, you don't want anybody else to mine it. Because if they're mining it, they're taking part of your cut, they're taking part of your coins. They prevent that by geo-locking this, and it's permission-based mining on top of that geo-lock. So nobody can come in and just start saying, oh, I'll mine this myself. That's one of the places that Bitcoin messed up, because when Bitcoin came out, it was all open source. Anybody could do it, and it still is today. And that's why the individual, the general public, can no longer mine Bitcoin. It's done by countries, it's done by large corporations that are doing it. And this is a way to keep the investment in our hands, the miners, the people that are buying into this thing. It secures your investment for that 136 years. And you can't one day wake up and decide we're going to do it differently, because it's into the programming of this entire coin is how it works. And it can only be done there through these mines owned by that company. And every day they become more and more decentralized. One of the other things that's going on right now, you have to be in Texas because it's geolocked to Texas. But if you're a miner with more than 2,700 hash power, you can opt for your own mining rig. And they have what they call pocket miners. And they mail you one. You plug it in your house, and now you've added another node to the network, but it's not part of the main mine. It's just another node that's outside of that mine. More protection, more redundancy. And then the person that has that one, that's why you have to have at least 2,700 hash, because whatever that one mines, that's yours. That's what you get.
Could that be outside of the state of Texas?
No, it's geolocked to the state of Texas.
So you couldn't get the computer if you lived here then, if you had
Correct.
2700.
Correct. Believe me, I asked, I tried, I cried, I begged Bobby if I could have one. He said, move to Texas. This doesn't sound like a bad idea sometimes. But yeah, it's pretty neat technology. The other cool thing about it is these are so power efficient. You know, one Bitcoin transaction today, one transaction, takes as much electricity as a normal U.S. neighborhood consumes in a week. So that's for one transaction. So you want to send $10 to somebody on Bitcoin, that sucked up as much electricity as your entire neighborhood used that week to compute one transaction. But they were the first. Technology's come a long way. People learned a lot more. They've found ways to streamline the algorithm and all of that. I'm going to keep moving on here so that we can get through this part, and I'm sure we'll have more questions. Cold storage wallet. For those of you that are in already, you have one of these. Cold storage wallet is a way to store your cryptocurrency offline, making it more secure than a hot wallet, which is connected to the internet. Cold wallets, like paper wallets or hardware wallets, store your crypto coins on a device that is not connected to the network, protecting them from online attacks. If you had $1 million on this coin, you don't want to just leave it laying around for anybody. And you don't want to store your $1 million worth of Texit coin on an exchange. Although the blockchains don't get hacked, exchanges do get hacked. So what Texit Coin has done is they've produced a way for you to get this coin and store what your mine is producing onto that coin. Then they created the app that we need a phone or a tablet for. That app allows us to read this coin. On the back of the coin, there's a sticker with a QR code. You take that app, you take a picture of that sticker, and now your wallet appears in that app. Now, everybody's like, oh my God, there's just a sticker. That's a read only. That's why it's cold. In the crypto world, you have a receive and a transmit address. That QR code, the sticker on the back of that coin is a receive only. Anybody can see it. They can't steal your coins. They can only give you coins. So I encourage people to steal my QR code and send me some coins. In fact, I have it tattooed like right here on my leg. You could scan it and send me some.
Oh, man,
All right, I'm going to tell you a tattoo story, and then we're going to move on. Me and Jonathan here, we were down in Phoenix. We're driving past all these tattoo shops at coming from a gun show. And said, we should get Texit coin tattoos. And he said, well, let's call Bobby up, see what Bobby is willing to give us for a Texit coin tattoo. Now, keep in mind, there was like less than 400 miners at this point, so you could actually call Bobby up and get him on the phone back then. But called Bobby, he says, you get Texit coin tattoos. I think he thought we were joking. He says, I'll give you $5,000. I said, all right, we're going to go do it. But then we got there and we said, well, what if we do the logo and the QR code? And he said, I'll give you $10,000. I said, all right. So we went to the tattoo shop, called him, said, well, we're here, we're getting them. And he's like, oh no. He's like, I want video. I want to see a needle in the skin. And he's like, you got to rub it. I want to make sure it's not drawn on. Hey, man of his word. He sent us each $10,000. And then he asked us how much the tattoos were, and he sent us the money to pay for the tattoos too. So it's just kind of fun things. Texit Coin's always doing something fun like that. Like, you know, he'll say like, first person to take a picture of this, I'll send you 500 Texit coins, stuff like that. So we'll get into that some more. But yeah, that's how I ended up with the Texit QR code.
Can you scan that? Does it work?
So yes and no. It tends to work better, like if I put some lotion on it. And it worked really well when it was first done. Now it's hit or miss. Sometimes it takes you to a weird website. I don't know. Yes, ma'am.
So you could compare this app with like a Cash App or a Venmo, but you're using coin instead of dollars.
Very similar. In fact, it works almost identically. But until you convert it hot, all it is a nice thing to look at.
I have a question. Is the cold storage wallet basically, it's just a ledger that you can look at?
Exactly. And I'm going to show you. This is actually the Texit Wallet app. I know it's hard to see. Just look at the colors is all you got to see. So when you see this black, that's viewing one of my cold storage coins. When you see black, that means cold. Blue is hot. Generally don't want to keep hot wallets on your phone, so I only keep a very small minimum amount in case I ever wanted to send it to anybody. So there's a whole whopping $38.58 on a hot coin there. Then I have a bank coin that another coin that I just kind of move coins to and let them sit there for a while. And then I have another hot wallet. You can have unlimited amount of coins and you can put them all here. It's super simple to do. But literally you asked about the Cash App part. So this is a hot wallet. You would just go here and right here is hit send. You hit send, you put the address of where you want to send it and hit send. Like that's literally the entire process of sending these coins.
And you could only send it to another miner within.
You could send it to another miner, you can send it to an exchange.
Okay.
I send them to the exchange, I sell them, and then I put them in my bank account.
Okay.
Anybody that can download that app, you can send coins. So if you're at a state fair and somebody's going to buy some potatoes and the guy's willing to download an app and trade some coins, it's that simple.
Yeah. I mean, he bought a car a couple months ago with Texit Coin because the guy that owns the car dealership is doing Texit, so he just sent him the coins right there. Transaction's done. It's a super, super simple. It sounds all daunting if you haven't done it before, but it's literally super simple. But
I'm sorry, one more question. So you don't recommend loading all of your coins into the app?
I recommend loading all your coins into the app, but not turning all of them hot.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about hot here in just a second. But the cold side, just remember, it's perfectly safe to keep cold coins on that app on your phone. If somebody steals your phone and they get into that app, they can't do anything with your coins. They can sit there and look, they can see how much coins you got, they can see how much money you have, They cannot transfer them off unless they physically have that coin, the physical cold storage wallet. So remember I told you there's a sticker, right? We took a picture of that sticker to load the cold. When it's time to turn it hot, we're gonna peel that sticker off. There's another QR code that's laser engraved. That's the hot code. Then you take the picture of that, you load it in the exact same way. It's literally 3 clicks to load a coin. You load the coin, now you have a hot one and it'll be blue on the app. And what you would do is you would load it, you would send the coins that you want to send. Once that transaction's done, delete the hot wallet off, and you're back to a cold. As long as you physically have this coin. Keep this in mind, I can't stress it enough though. They are just like a regular wallet, all right? If you had $1 million stuffed in your wallet, you wouldn't just leave it laying around on the counter or, setting it all over the place. You would lock it up. That's what you need to do with this coin. Because regardless of the app, if somebody stole this coin from you and they knew what it was, they could take the coins off. They could take it. So that's one reason we have the app. So you don't have to carry these coins around with you every day trying to figure out what's on them. You can constantly monitor them without ever having to touch that cold storage wallet. You can keep that locked up. I put it in a safe. I keep it locked up. That's also why I spread mine out across a couple different coins too and keep them in different places. So if somebody stole one coin, they're not getting everything I have. So, looked like somebody had a, yes?
I do have a question. When you get the coin and you scan it with the app, is it supposed to become a wallet and show you what you have?
Yes.
Because that's not happening.
Do you have your coin with you?
But we scanned it and it shows nothing.
Let me come back here and see. I could probably, Blockchain Mint, for one, I would go to TXC Wallet.
But that's the one that was in the website. In the email, we went there and it downloaded.
Right. This one works.
Yes.
Texit Coin Wallet is so much simpler. But I think what happened here, I'm not 100% sure, but just looking at this, I think that maybe this scanned the other QR code. There's 2 QR codes on the package.
Oh.
And you usually have to put your thumb over the one to make sure that, for some reason, it always wants to grab that one.
Okay.
Jonathan, you got a second, can you look at this one? But I'm gonna have him look at it. Do you have your coin with you?
Yeah.
I can help you get this loaded up.
That'd be great.
In fact, could you download the TXC Wallet?
I will do it.
Yeah, it's just TXC Wallet. If you download it, we'll get you loaded up right here. We'll show everybody how easy it is. Hopefully, they're not a problem, and I'll be eating my words, but we can. Do you have a 9 pack?
Yeah.
So you have 3 coins.
Yeah, and then I got another one too there.
So that actually could be the other issue.
Wrong coin?
Only one coin is a primary, and only one coin is going to have coins on it. The other 2 will have nothing on them.
This one was in its own special package, just like that.
It was in the big pack.
Yeah.
I've got it.
They're sending coins now that are the size of a piece of paper.
Yeah. Yep.
And I have the little ones, and I think with the little ones, I think is the primary, Mike, but I'm looking at this.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, the big one.
Oh, just a bigger package.
Yeah. And then I've got,
I'd be willing to, they actually tell you. See how this one says 2?
yeah,
This one says 2.
This is their hot money that we're talking about, but we don't have it.
Oh, this is the Ethereum. It's going to be this one.
I'll help them.
so I've taken,
Just hold on to that.
Yes.
And then you keep this in your possession, but keep this one separate from the others.
So we know you have.
And,
It's just trying to help him.
oh yeah, we'll get,
With him next time.
oh yeah, we're gonna get it set up. Is that app downloaded?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's do it. So, all right, let's get that coin. So just for everybody's when I was talking about there's 2 QR codes, for some reason, it always wants to grab this one first. So if you put your thumb over it, and we might have to come up here where there's a little more light, because I think it's a little too dark. Would it be all right if we do this up here?
Yeah.
All right. So, here we have the app, Add Wallet. We don't use this. I know, it sounds weird. We're just going to hit this little plus button right here. And it says Import Wallet. I'm going to cover this up. I'm hitting Import Wallet. Then it says Scan. Hitting Scan. Yep, got to approve using the camera. There it is. And there he is.
Thank you.
And there's your money. 3 clicks. It's really simple.
What was the app?
TXC Wallet.
TXC
Wallet. Yeah. TXC stands for Texit Coin. It's also the ticker symbol. So when you get in an exchange, you want to look it up, you're going to put in TXC.
Well, maybe we'll go on that.
What do we need to, what's the question?
Make sure you click on here and switch it from TXC to USD. That's how much it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little button.
Yeah.
There's 3 things on there. USD, TXC, and a thing that says SATS, S-A-T-S. That stands for Satoshis. It's for use later down the road. It's the way of breaking the coins up fractionally. So like in Bitcoin, most people are not trading full Bitcoins, they're trading fractions of Bitcoins. That's why I can show you the Satoshi breakdown as well. So, yes.
So before they did the app and scanned the coin, let's say he was holding that coin, that physical coin for 2 weeks. It was still accumulating.
Yeah, as soon as I loaded it,
up until, I mean, it's going to continue.
Yeah, when I just loaded it, it shows now the coins that are there. The coins have been going onto that coin since day 1.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now
2 weeks today.
yours is a little more, 9-packs are a little bit more complicated. A 9-pack has 3 pay centers. We're going to talk about this more in depth about 10 slides from now, but that's why you got 3 coins. And when I get to that slide, I'll explain it more, but that's why you have 2 coins that don't have anything on it, and I'll explain why and how someday they probably will have something on there. Yes, sir.
Real quick, to go back with her question, if they've been laying in my safe, I'm still mining,
Yep.
even though I haven't done any of this
Yep.
app stuff or anything yet.
Yep, every day.
Okay.
Now, let me talk about this real quick. And this kind of goes in with what you were talking about with the cloud, sort of. These coins don't actually physically get Texit coin put on them. That code that you have coincides to the blockchain. And so when you scan it, it's just reading the blockchain that's running through the mine. And they can tell that address belongs to you. Well, not to you. They can tell that it belongs to that coin. So you're really just using that QR code to read the blockchain. You're not, the coins are not physically put onto that coin. So I know some people, that was a hard one for some people, because they're like, how if I put it in my safe, how's it ever going to connect to get the coins put on it? Well, the coins don't ever physically get put on there. They're added to the blockchain. That wallet code is your code locked into the blockchain. We're good to go? All right. Hot wallet. I think we kind of nailed this already. Hot wallet's a type of cryptocurrency wallet that's always connected to the internet. So I'm going to jump through this one real fast, but your cold storage wallet can become a hot wallet by peeling the sticker off and doing the exact same process we just did. Instead of being black, it's going to be blue, and that will allow you to send off of that one. So
Can you change it back to a cold wallet after you made it a hot wallet?
you can just delete the hot wallet off, and now all you have is a cold wallet. Yep.
So you have to save the sticker that you peel off when you...
Well, when you convert it over to the hot, your cold is still stored in there. So-
It'll be laser engraved on the back of the physical coin.
Not the cold won't.
But the original QR that you scanned, it said that.
So what I do, there's about 50 different ways to get the receive code. So let's say you peel the sticker off, you accidentally rip it in half, you lose it, it melts, I don't know, something bad happens to it. You can go right to your dashboard, and I'm going to show you this when we get to the dashboard, and you can copy the code right out of your dashboard and paste it in. You also, the 5-digit code, your coin ID code, you can use that too for the cold side. None of that works for the hot because nobody, not even Texit Coin, stores your hot address. So like if you were to lose your coin, you can't call Texit Coin and say, I lost my coin, can you send it to me? They could get you a new one and they could route things over to it, but they don't know what your transaction number is. So let's learn about Texit Coin itself. Race to 16. October 2024, Texit Coin was trading for around 4 cents. In April of 2025, it was at 49 cents. We're June 4th today? And I know that we are at about $1.07 today. We're projecting to be at $16.69 around February 26th. Currently traded on multiple exchanges, DexTrade, Bitmart, Asbit, a couple others. Working on getting onto Kraken. Once we get on Kraken, things are really going to take off because Kraken's a US-based, US authorized exchange. So it cuts a lot of this middle stuff that we have to do right now out.
The timeline on that?
Hopefully by the end of the summer. So the other thing to keep in mind is that these aren't guesses. Okay, they didn't just arbitrarily say, I think it will be at $16 in February. They can look at the amount of coins that are produced by the mine. They can look at the amount of miners. They can look at the spread in the exchanges. And they can determine the amount of liquidity needed to support that amount of money. So the money that goes into these mining shares also goes into the liquidity pool. So your money is buying more mining equipment and going to the liquidity pool. And when you get into your dashboard on the first page, they actually have a diagram where you can go and look at how the money was distributed, and you can look at it in real time on a daily basis to see, what went to travel, what went to mining equipment, what went to liquidity pool. The liquidity pool is also shared with all miners. You get an address, you can log in at any time, and you can check the liquidity to see where the liquidity sits for each of the exchanges in real time. So it's a pretty transparent company because every time something is bought by this company, whether it's dinner or a taxi or whatever, they have another forum where they upload every receipt of every dime they've ever spent on anything they've ever done. Every time they buy mining equipment, they upload the receipt. When the equipment comes in, they take the pictures of it coming in. They video it being offloaded off the ships. And then they tell you where it was delivered at. And if you want to go down there and check it out, you can. So, what's Texit Coin? Texit Coin is an accessible, scalable, mineable, and usable crypto coin. I mean, we've really I think we've kind of beat this one to death. And this is where we're talking about this mine's designed to run for right at about 136 years. The cool thing to understand about Texit Coin is, there's a lot of new cryptos that hit the market. And when those cryptos come out, they generally are not on exchanges. And they're hoping that someday they're going to be valuable. They get people to invest in them, you buy up all these coins, but the problem is you can't sell them because there's no exchange. And sometimes those cryptos make it and sometimes they don't. And if they don't, you just have a bunch of coins that can never be converted into anything usable. And that's one reason that Texit Coin did it a little different. They set up the mine first. They got onto exchanges before they started doing this. So from day one, when you get your coins, they're usable on day one. You can trade them, you can sell them, and you can go to the exchange and you can buy more and you can sell more and you can convert it into cash. The second those coins hit your account, they're yours. There's no waiting period. There's nothing. Like, if you wanted to take your coin deposit and sell it every day, I don't know why you would, but if you wanted to, you can. They're your coins. Do whatever you want with. You can move them to the exchange and sell them every day if you want. We're gonna blaze through this part too. The tokenomics, it just talks about that. Basically, it's everything that we've been talking about. What is Texit Coin used for, right? Well, peer-to-peer trades, right? You have something that I want. I don't want to pay you in cash. I'll pay you in Texit Coin. We can make the transaction happen on 2 cell phones in a couple of seconds. And nobody's the wiser. We didn't have to incorporate any banks or anything else. The transaction's done. Texit Coin can also be an investment, right? Because you're buying in to a mine that produces coins for you every day for the next 136 years. $16 isn't the end, folks. That's the first goal. The next goal I think was 38, and then it goes to 880. And I don't remember what they said. The top out for the algorithm was like 1,200 and.
Probably around $1,272.
$1,272, I think, was the top out on the coin. So, I mean, that's not happening this year. That's not happening next year. That's like a 15 years down the road kind of projection. And that's once you start getting that far out, the math is not as reliable on being able to figure out what you're going to be at on a monthly basis. Texit Coin distribution. Texit Coin is allocated exclusively through mining. This approach ensures that TXT is fairly distributed to miners based on hash power purchased or earned by miners. Here's another thing that protects you. No single miner can buy more than 9 shares. You can earn unlimited amount of shares, but you can only purchase 9. The reason they did that, to make sure that no fat cat bazillionaire comes in and buys up all the shares and now controls the whole thing.
Sure.
9 shares, that's all you can buy. If you want to go out and do like what me and Jason and Jack and Jonathan are doing, you can earn unlimited amounts. For every, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but for every 3 people that you bring on, they give you a share for free. And there's other ways of getting more bonuses.
A mining share or just a coin?
A mining share, $1,000 mining share. So that's why I was saying I have 58 shares. Mm-hmm. I actually started with 3. I bought 3 shares, and there was no promotions when I got in. So I got 3 shares, started with 3, got 300 hash power, October 29th of last year. And since then, I've been able to work it up to 58 shares. I have not put one more dime into Texit Coin since the initial investment.
A share is worth 100 hash power?
A share is 100 hash power. One single share is $995. So, questions up to this point? Jack? Texit Coin is a utility. It's built for trade and commerce, can be used for a wide range of transactions from everyday purchases to larger business operations. That larger business operation part's interesting because that's starting to get into what they call the layer 2 portion. Texit Coin has layer 2, it's in beta, and it should be rolling out in February of next year. Layer 2 is what big businesses are interested in, because layer 2 is a way for people to transfer files and secure information utilizing the Texit Coin mine and blockchain system to move files instead of the coins. But think about it, every transaction they make costs money, so they're paying to make their secure transaction across your network. And every time they do, it creates more coins for us, the miners. So. Economic model, the value of Texit Coin is driven by market demand, scarcity, and utility. As the mine grows in size, reliability, and decentralization, more businesses, traders, and individuals adopt the Texit Coin. Kind of what we've been talking about all day. The more miners, the more the other countries, the more speculative investors are coming in. They want to buy these coins up. They're being produced on a daily basis. The value goes up. This is the fun part, right? The incentives. Texit Coin offers various incentives for miners, including bonus mining hash power for recruiting more miners and businesses that want to accept TXC as payments for goods and services. Check out this picture here. It's kind of blurry, but see this wrapped car? That was another promotion they were doing. If you wanted to get your car wrapped, they pay you $1,000 a month. They pay for the wrap and $1,000 a month. They had so many people that wanted to do it. It was like 542 people or something like that wanted to do it. Now there's a waiting list. The cooler the car jumps you to the top of the waiting list. And so last week, me and Jonathan were out in Vegas at the crypto convention, and they had a DeLorean, a Texit Coin DeLorean some guy had done out there. That was kind of cool. There's a McLaren. Somebody did a McLaren. So there's some pretty cool cars out there that have been done up.
What about a tractor?
You know,
First Texit tractor.
you could have a Texit tractor, and if you parked it on the highway, I mean, see the thing about this and these incentives, think about the tattoo story, right? Bobby didn't come out and say, if you guys want to go get a tattoo, I'll pay you some money. We just were like, hey, is this worth anything to you? For a while, they were running a deal that's probably still good. If you got a custom license plate, what was it, 1,000 hash? Or I'm sorry, 1,000.
Free share. 100.
Free share, 100 hash. So if you went and got, said Texit Coin or buy Texit Coin, you got a share for free. And and there's always something fun going on. Yeah, question?
That's it. What if you got your house wrapped?
That's got to be worth something. That has got to be worth something.
There goes the
The HOA approved.
Oh, I hate the HOAs.
We don't have an HOA.
Yeah, I do. They're horrible. They a couple months ago, we were going out of town, and I hadn't been gone 10 minutes, and they emailed me about getting an inoperable vehicle out of my driveway. And the vehicle was one of my employees, and he had literally just drove and parked it there. There was nothing wrong with it, but they didn't like it. It's ugly. It is an ugly car, but I mean, it was still legally registered. Anyways, that has nothing to do with Texit Coin. It's my HOA rant. Anyways, Texit Coin is also a community. There's a lot of fun. Like this last week, we were out in Vegas. There was 90 some odd Texit Coin people that went to Vegas, and 85 of those people had their trip paid for them, and 10 people also got $5,000 gambling money. And they ran a kind of a competition. Keep me honest here. I think you had to have 10 signups, was it?
I think so.
10 signups in 4 weeks got you a paid trip to Vegas. And if you managed 50 points in that same period, you got the $5,000 for gambling. 7 of the top 10 spots, Colorado. So we really crushed it out there, and it was fun. There was the crypto convention, and there were some dinners, and there was a Bitcoin convention going on. So Texit Coin invaded that. And if you've ever been to Vegas, the big trucks with the advertising on. They drive up and down the strip. Texit Coin bought 7 trucks for 7 days, 24 hours a day, driving around the Texit Coin commercial around the hotel that had the Bitcoin conference going on. And then on the last night, they reserved the restaurant right outside the doors of the Bitcoin conference. So the big Texit Coin party was right there as the Bitcoin people were coming out of their convention. So just fun stuff. Crypto can be fun. You'll meet a lot of, if you ever went to one of these things, there's a lot of eccentric. Now they call them, crypto rich. And a lot of these guys try and be the weirdest person they can. Like me and Jonathan. We got cool jackets for it. So, next. How can you get in on the Texit Coin journey? You can purchase Texit coin on many popular crypto exchanges today at today's market price. That's simply deciding that you want to go to DexTrade and buy the coins yourself. Let me get out the way here. Buy the coins yourself, hold on to them, trade them whenever you want. You can do that and do mining too. And that's actually what I did when I first got in. I bought the mining share, but like I said, Texit coin was at 4 cents. I had bought in on the whole $16 thing, and I'm like, well, if it's at 4 cents right now, I should go and buy up as much as I can. So I was on that exchange like every other day, buying coins at 4 and 6 cents. Get yourself a mining share and get Texit coin deposited onto your cold storage wallet every day for the next 136 years. That's what we're here talking about and doing today. One share in Texit coin provides 100 hash power, is available for $9.95. 3 shares of Texit coin provides 300 hash power and is available for $2,985. The fastest way to really jumpstart your investment is to get in on a 9-pack. There's a typo there. It's $8,955. I shouldn't edit these things at midnight. The promotion of last month has ended. Last month's promotion was buy 9, get 3 free. This month it's buy 9, get 2 free. I imagine at the end of this month, this is a guess on my end, and I'm not trying to do it as a scare tactic, but I have a feeling that all the promotions will be done at the end of this month. Last month, they had a buy 3, get 1, buy 6, get 2, buy 9, get 3. The 3 completely went away. They now have a buy 5, get 1, and it's the buy 9, get 2. The need to give promotions is pretty much non-existent anymore. When this was first starting out, they needed to do the promotions that helped get new miners on board. They've got more miners coming on today than they can almost handle. So the need for the promotions is pretty much gone. So if this is something you're looking at, it's good to take advantage of these promotions, because this 9-pack, getting 2 shares for free, that's $2,000 for free. And you're going to get 1,100 hash instead of 100 or 300 hash. So that's hash power directly affects how many coins you get on a daily basis. And remember, once the rocket ship is filled and we're not adding miners anymore, whatever hash you're at on that day is the hash you're at for the next 136 years. Your hash is not going to go up anymore. So the name of the game is get as much hash now as you can, because when this thing is at that $16 or $880, you want to be getting like at least 10 coins and not a fraction of a coin. And that's going to be dictated by the amount of hash that you have. So like me personally, right now I'm getting around 230 coins a day. But like I said, back when I first got in, a single share was getting 76 coins a day. So my amount of coins, I have to keep increasing my hash to keep my coin amount the same. So, oh yeah, I started on this one already. So you guys have heard my story already. It's, the best part of it is I've never had to put more money in. This isn't one of the programs that you're going to ask you for $1,000 today, and a month from now they're going to ask you for $1,000 more. It's you buy in at whatever rate you're comfortable with, and that's it. There isn't anything else more to do that's required of you to do. One of the things that you are allowed to do is you have a 30-day upgrade period. So if you bought a 6-pack today, let's say, and then you said, really I should have got the 9, they will let you upgrade to the 9 if it's within 30 days. Once it's past 30 days, you can't upgrade to a 9-pack. You could buy the 9 shares, but it will still be a single pay center. And we'll talk about why that's important here in a minute. How do I maximize my incentives? I hate this term here. It's confusing to people, but this is the official Texit thing, is 1, 2 free. It should actually be 1, 2, 3 free. For every 3 miners that you bring in, you get a free share. If you bring in 3 miners in the first 30 days, they will double it. So if you join up, you bring in 3 people, instead of getting 1 share, you're going to get 2. If you manage to do that in that 30-day period, they're going to let you try and do it again. So you could get 3 more people in another 30 days, they'll give you another 200 hash. So if you can sign up 6 people within 60 days of joining, that's 4 shares, $4,000 for free. Right there. 400 hash. So it's a pretty good program. You can do that as many times as you want, over and over and over and over and over, forever. Well, until the ship is full. Commissions. So before we get into this part, there's a lot of people that get into this that have no desire ever to go out and add somebody or try and talk to somebody about joining this. And that's perfectly fine. That's the one difference between this and some of the other things out there is your ability to buy into this has nothing to do really with your ability to go and add people. You can buy a 1-pack or a 9-pack and you can sit on it and you can take the coins that you get and you still have an investment. At no point is anybody ever going to call you up and say, why didn't you add 3 people in 30 days? Why haven't you done this? I will honestly, probably roughly around 90% of the people that join never sign anybody up. Not because they can't, because they have no desire to. And they're just happy with the investment that they have, and that's fine. So don't think that any of this incentive stuff is a requirement, and none of it hinges upon your ability to just have a mining share and sit back and enjoy the mining. There's no penalty whatsoever for not doing this part. But this is all a grassroots grown thing. It's grown by miners. So you can earn commissions weekly of $1,000, $2,000 to $3,000 per pay center. And that's why a 9-pack is so special, because a 9-pack gives you 3 pay centers. You can max out each pay center. You can get $3,000 maximum in all 3 pay centers. So if you were signing people up, you could get $9,000 a week in commissions. With a single pay center, you max out at $3,000.